Greetings, dear ladies. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. These channels are different, and I've said it before many times, but perhaps it's the first time you've heard it. In these channels, my partner steps way away. His method is that he remembers all things. In this form of channeling, in some called trance, the individual, unique, has their own process. There's only just one human being at a time, and each is unique. So there's no generic way of channeling. My partner remembers everything that happens. And that was the agreement until the sisterhood. From this moment, he'll remember nothing, and he'll have to hear from the recording what he said. And this is in honor of the fact that this is a gender-specific group. There's nothing secret here. It's an honor because the women are here. I've said this before, don't be fooled by the voice. It's simply the human you're hearing in the voice. Spirit has no gender. And the love that Spirit has is pure. Without gender, without bias, the elegance of it is unmistakable. And yet, if you were to genderize it, you'd have to say it was closer to mother than anything on the planet. And so we enter information about the sisterhood, about the wisdom of the sisterhood. You've heard me many times, perhaps talk about what happened in Lemuria. But I would like to say yet again, because we said it in the last channel, that Lemuria was different. It was different than any other place on the planet. And what made Lemuria so different is that it stayed pure a lot longer than any other places. And so the sisterhoods in Lemuria also remained pure. And here's what I want you to remember. The premise that we teach, that the Akash, that is, what you've experienced, has no time, in that it would be harder to remember if it were older, because that's linear. What you remember in the Akash and what comes forward first is that which is most dramatic. And the dramaticness of it, not the drama, the dramaticness of it for you quite often was the beauty and the wisdom and literally the shamanic energy assigned to your gender. It was unusual. Unusual because the planet is not this way now. But unusual it was not for the Pleiadians who taught you. And yet, again, we speak of a premise that we want you to contain. The premise, again, is that it's in you, all of you. There are so many lifetimes you will never have come forward. But right now, in this new energy, you are being asked to generate that which is the most help for you. Enter the sisterhood. There is great wisdom here. And the reason this sisterhood, meaning the concept of the Lemurian Sisterhood, the reason that it is different at this time from any other, is that on Lemuria, your Pleiadian teachers remained, and they taught for centuries. You were not part of the same sisterhood, ladies. You came and you went But over a long period of time, you participated in the same things because it stayed pure. Hard for you to believe, but you also participated in the same teachers, for they're timeless. What do you think it was like to be taught by those who seeded the planet? What would they say to you? Dear ones, they were not above you. You did not sit in a circle around them and have them elevated. You loved them because they were one with you. Each one like a mother to you. All of them women. The greatest teaching that ever happened on the planet started all over the planet with the seeding, and the Lemurian teaching was very pure. Although the whole planet received it at the same time, the Lemurian teaching was different, for it stayed pure. And so you have this difference between other groups and other circles, is that the purity remained the same. So even though you were Lemurian Sisterhood members for centuries and perhaps didn't even know each other, you had the same instructors with the same information. That's what makes the sisterhood special. Now, the answer to another question would be, what would you say to those who need to have wisdom from what you've learned all those years ago? And I will tell you that your Lemurian mother teachers sat and gave you this information year after year. What do you think a shaman needs to know? Having ceremony? No. You can do that on your own. And by the way, the ceremonies came from humans, not Pleiadians. What is it a shaman needs to know? And the answer is wisdom. You turn to a shamanic source for help. Wisdom in the body, in the soul, in the spirit, wisdom of humor. And wisdom for circumstances. And so the shaman needs to know all the things so they could teach the others. And the teacher of the shamans were the Pleiadian mothers. Now that is in your Akash. All of it. I am not here to tell you what that teaching is. Meliha is here to lead you into a situation of remembrance. The sisterhood is about generating the original wisdom from the original teachers who were Pleiadian. A remembrance of this mother energy, perhaps even some faces, perhaps even some information that would come through that would help you to remember what they said. Don't expect words. I want you to expect emotions, and then perhaps in your dreams, feelings, maturity. And when you start remembering these things, I want you to elevate yourselves and stop the self-worth issues that are here today. Because you were part of the original teachings of Earth. The teachings from Spirit of what helps humanity, how to help those around you. Don't be surprised if some of these things that you were taught would be basics of a mother, what they would teach their children. But more than that, when another woman comes to you in trouble, what would you say to her? We said the last time you would be quiet and you would listen, but there has to be more. And then you would open up and start telling this woman what your Pleiadian mother told you. And that has to come from you. So the sisterhood becomes a remembering hood. A place where you gather together in Mass, sing the songs you used to sing with the remembrance of Meliha and the guidance. For she was the teacher who was human, who carried this information, arranged the ceremonies of teachings with the Pleiadian mothers, and passed them on. It's up to you to start remembering the pure information that is wise, gentle, filled with joy and understanding, so that anyone who sits in your presence and asks, "What shall I do?" the first thing they will feel is loved. With a hand that outstretches, that says, "All is well." Feel all is well. Ladies, you can't do that unless you feel all is well. And that is the first thing your Pleiadian teacher told you. It must be well with your soul before you can pass it on. And that's enough for today. Let the ceremonies and the music and the wisdom begin. And so it is.